Well, welcome everybody to the 19th episode of the Customer Ed Nuggets podcast series. I'm independent learning tech analyst John Lay of Talented Learning, hosting today's show with returning guest expert Tamer Ali, co-founder and president of Authentic Learning Labs. Today, Tamer and I are going to discuss the methods a customer ed organization has at their disposal to syndicate their learning content. Why? Because developing a learning content syndication strategy is mandatory for most customer education programs. Tamer, welcome back to the Customer Ed Nuggets podcast. It's great to have you here. I'm glad I didn't scare you off.
It's great to be here.
Excellent. Let's get going. All right. I love having you on the show. Tamer, you've been on this podcast. You've been on the Talented Learning Show. We've done webinars and panel discussions together. And it's always enjoyable and I always learn something because you have the ability to take something very complex and make it simple. And syndication is one of those things. As it turns out, it's not a very complex, but it seems complex at first blush. And so we're going to try to solve that today. But let's take a step back real quick. Say what content syndication is basically the process of repurposing or republishing your various types of digital learning content across multiple platforms, websites, or other LMSs. And this enables you to reach a larger audience, expand globally, increase your brand reach, more importantly, meet your customers where they are inside their applications, inside their own LMS even. And that helps elevate brand visibility and drive new revenues and all kinds of great things for your business. And see, because when you develop content, even with generative AI, it's an expensive, lengthy process, and you only have so much time that content is viable before it needs to be updated or replaced. And so that content viability window, you can really maximize that by trying to put more lines in the water and have your content in more places at the same time. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can syndicate your content. Some are technical, some are more business effective than others. But the very first one, without a doubt, is just to give your content away. Say, what? Why would you do that? That's what everybody says not to do. Well, I mean, it's not an ideal situation. But if one of your larger customers comes and says, listen, we've got our own LMS and we need your content on our LMS versus sending our 10,000 learners to your LMS, the answer is yes, until you figure out how to do it technically. Let them have your content. Sure, you can't track it. Sure, you can't maintain it. But for now, you're still doing a positive good on your business. So that's the first step of syndicating your content is just don't be hard-nosed about it. Give it away. It's not like anybody's going to steal it and use it for something else. I think it's really just a matter of being easy to do business with your clients until you figure out a technical way. But the very first technical way that's available in good customer education LMSs and also in third-party tools is the concept of stubbing. Tamer, take it away. What's that mean?
It's great to be here, John. And the way that syndication works, without getting into the too much of the technical jargon, is that, and let's say you and I are both partners in LMS work, and we really like your content, but you don't want to give up that content. But you can give access to that content, and what you would do is export basically a directive or a direction for my LMS that understands it. Essentially, you give them an address. So you export typically a course and it has a bunch of media and stuff in it because it's the whole course. In this case, you're not giving me the course. You're just giving me the location of that course. And within that file, it gives some communication protocols that allow me to launch that course, even though you're not relinquishing the control. So just like an example of a website or something, maybe that website is not somewhere within my control, but I can get to it by putting in the right address and right credentials. Similarly, a partner vendor of yours can, because they demand having their own access and launching from their own LMS, can do that using that type of protocol. The industry protocols facilitate it, where you get an export out of a course that allows this type of syndication process, and you transfer that package it's essentially an empty package with directions how to launch the course. And that's how it happens. Essentially, a stub or what would be an empty course shell would be what they're really launching, which essentially fools that LMS to think that the course is there in the same way a course is installed locally to their company. So let's say I'm Kellogg's and I want to launch your content because it's the greatest content. But I'm Kellogg's, so I'm big. I don't want to give up the access to my my users and I want them to stay on my property, I can still launch your content, that great content, and give it to my audience and make them think that it's nowhere but the same place as everywhere else. It's seamless to them. They get the same experience. It's seamless to the participant, seamless to the admin of the LMS on their Telux side. And for you, you don't relinquish any of the control. You see all the access. You see how your license being used so they don't abuse it. And you don't give away your IP.
All right, cool. Thanks, Tamer. Stubbing, available in a good customer LMS near you. I'm going to take one now that is not technical, but it's just a business strategy, and that's leveraging your content, if applicable, through content aggregators and content hubs. Why? Because your organization, your organizational customers, and your learners are already there. So getting content where they may be actively learning other things is just a good strategy to try to get in front of them and continue to move the needle. What are some content aggregators? Or some B2B content aggregators are Open Sesame and Go One are probably the two most popular. They literally have tens and maybe even 100,000 titles of every conceivable topic from, hundreds of vendors around the world that are providing content, including maybe you. They typically have their own rules on how they develop and deploy that content, but you can leverage either the syndication strategies we're talking here today, or produce your content in a way that they can distribute that, and you can track it and basically have somebody else doing your selling for you and getting to your customers where they may be already downloading content from Open Sesame or Go One. The other strategy you can use is go to the content hubs that exist out there, like Udemy and LinkedIn Learning are like two perfect examples where you can go and access a lot of content as an individual learner. And so if you have content on how to use your software or get certified on your software, having that in an open environment where learners are already learning and consuming content, paying a flat fee on a monthly basis is really smart. It's not technical, it's easy to do, and it gives you some extra reach that you don't have. But probably the most advanced way to think about syndication is to skip the LMS altogether and just go API centric. What? What's that mean? Tamer, take it away.
API centric model will even move it more advanced to where it says, yeah, we're gonna give you a place where you can find. We're going to publish a listing, essentially a catalog of all the things that you can take in to your website, and we'll authorize your access to it. And you'll see that there's, titles A through Z of all the courses that we're permitting you to access. And we'll set up an authentication for you the way your client, your company prefers, and they'll launch the courses in that manner. And this facilitates a few things, like you said. They don't have to do the onesie and twosie manual uploads and setups. They can gain access to maybe even a private portal where you've branded it for them nicely, and control some of the other aspects, even give them announcements and custom messages because they're a big customer of yours. Meanwhile, they feel very good because they're launching in an experience that's essentially in their own type of environment. It's comfortable, it's branded for them, and it's exclusively their content. They see the reporting data because they have an aspect to that in their views and their admin views. So everybody remains happy, and it takes away one of the other, the stumbles of doing the other way, which is having the manual upload and creation of all those course entries into an LMS. So it was a lot more advanced, and it also caters to the customer much more.
All right. Good stuff, Tamer, API centric. Listeners, there you have it. 4 ways that you can syndicate your content. You can just give it away. It's not ideal, but it's not horrible. You can use the stubbing method available in most good customer LMSs. You can leverage content hubs and content aggregators that are applicable in your industry to meet learners where they're at. And to really meet learners where they're at, use API centric methods where you can just skip the LMS and pump your content anywhere a learner is, from a browser to working on a machine. And those are 4 ways to syndicate your content that you can start doing it today and enjoy all the benefits that Tamer and I discussed in podcast 13 of this very podcast series. So there you have it, folks. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found value, and we look forward to seeing you on the next. Tamer, thanks very much. Have a great day, everyone. And you can find more of our fiercely independent content at talentedlearning.com.